What's going on in here, Seamus?
Two guys took a lot of class. Open up for questions for Coach. Hey, Coach, how would you assess today's performance?
Well, going into this one, we were looking to, for great focus from our team all week, and I feel like we got that. We, talked about the importance of getting over the first win against a top 10 team, and we took the following day, the Sunday, off, and then got right back to work on Monday. And, had a good hard week of practice, starting with the film session where we had a lot of correcting and a lot of teaching. I thought we got off to a solid start tonight. I was not thrilled with how, we turned the ball over when the bench came in. I didn't think our running habits were where they needed to be. And then you allow a team to gain a little confidence, and anything can happen when that occurs. So, I thought end of the half was solid. I thought Braden Frager obviously gave us a great lift on the offensive end, but more than that, I thought he had good activity defensively. He was getting his hands on the ball and forcing some turnovers. I thought we did have active hands all game long, and we got to finish some of those. We got to go in there and grab them with two hands. But overall, I think when you play two games like this, completely different games. You play a top 10, one of the best teams in the country, and then you play a team with a lot of local players that have played in this building in the state tournament, and this game means a lot to them. Not the same athleticism, obviously talent is what BYU had, but a game we had to come in and have great focus with. So, to get through this one, we didn't want to overextend Rink in this game. We got him, I think, under 14 minutes. It was good to get Oogie out there for a stretch and got everybody on the floor. So it was a good, good preseason for us, and, now the fun begins.
One of the questions of this team is what it was going to look like when the shots weren't falling early on. How do you think they responded to manufacturing offense and setting up on defense when it took a while to get?
Yeah, I thought we settled, Robin, to be honest with you. We didn't attack. We were 8 for 10 at the rim in the first half. I thought we settled for some tough ones. I thought we missed some good looks early. I thought we had 3 right away. Sam, Burke, and Price all had 3s that hit every part of the rim and bounced out. I did think we got some good looks as the half went on, but, that midway point where Midland made a run, I thought we were settling for some very difficult shots.
What do you think made the difference in locking in on defense, especially in the second half?
Well, again, Wilson, I think it was just our overall hand activity. And, when you can get deflections like we did, we hit our deflection goal. Some games you go in, we have 7 deflections. We want to get 20 to 30, 25 to 30 deflections on every given night. Tonight we almost hit our goal in the first half. So I think that's really what it was. We saved the day on a couple plays where we came over. A couple of those were Braden. I thought Kendall Blue gave us good minutes out there at the point with 5 assists and 0 turnovers. Good to see Jamarcus knock down a couple shots. And, listen, this team, it's been really fun to coach them. And looking forward to the opener next week. We're starting off the season with 2 very athletic teams with West Georgia and FIU. Those are 2 well-coached teams that are really going to get after us. So, again, we got to get back to work. We'll take tomorrow off and start getting ready for the opener.
How important was it for Braden to see some shots fall now and not maybe go into the regular season with that just on his option?
Well, I think he was the one guy that I thought he played well against BYU. He was the one guy that played that didn't score. So it was good to see. This is what Braden can do. He can really get it going. He's very streaky when he gets hot like that. And you saw it. It's almost like there's nobody else on the floor but him. And, sometimes that's a great thing. Sometimes it's not. But, he really took the lid off the basket. Price obviously had it going as well. But, between the 2 of them, they make 10 threes. Last week it was Rink and Connor that made 12 threes combined. And, yeah, that's the beauty of Braden Frager. He's athletic. I would have loved to see him go in there with 2 hands on the one. He got going to the rim there in the second half. But overall, this was a very important game for Braden, to see that thing go in the hoop and hopefully be a confidence builder for him heading into the opener.
How important was it to see Jamarcus hit 2 threes, get some confidence?
Yeah, same thing. And again, you shoot it well in practice. It doesn't matter, unless you knock them in a game. So to see those 2 that were right there and, didn't even touch the rim, was an important couple shots. I thought he had some good looks. I thought he forced a couple in the first half as well. But I think 15 is what we made, and I thought we missed some really good looks. So this team's capable of having nights like that. But to your original question, I can't remember what you asked it because I'm getting old and foggy. But when the ball's not going to the hoop, how did we respond? I thought we had good activity and competed through that stretch where the ball wasn't going in.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned Brink. You want to give him limited minutes. How's his conditioning doing now that he's back? Practice a lot, playing a couple games.
Yeah, he's doing great. His conditioning is where it needs to be. He's been full go. We have not had any restrictions on rink for probably 6 weeks. So he's in a good spot. Like I said, Oogie was good to get him out there. He's been very limited in practice. We're going to need Oogie this year with his body and his size. Jared, I thought, finished off the game well. I didn't like how he played early with the turnovers, but we're going to need that in our front line. I thought Leo played well. You can see how well he moves. We put him in as a first sub on the front line in the second half, and I thought he gave us really good minutes out there.
How do you utilize this next week to figure out these last rotation stuff, line stuff before the season?
Yeah, great question, Justin. The one thing about this team is it can be somebody different every night. And, again, Rink, I think, went for 8 points in his 13 minutes. But, this could be Oogie had a day in practice last week. He looked like Rink in the BYU game where he hit 7 threes. So, it could be anybody's night, and our guys have to be okay with that. You may not play as much on certain nights, and, we've talked a lot about that. And I think this team is very selfless and very unselfish. So, if we can continue with that throughout this season, we have a chance. If we don't, we don't.
How do you narrow down that lead initiator guard spot?
Well, I think Jamarcus has been great with it. Kendall, I thought, like I said, gave us good minutes. Sam and Kale both can initiate for us, and then you got Rink, and BK brought the ball down the floor quite a bit tonight as well. So, again, I know I talked early about being, kind of point guard by committee, and we've got a lot of guys that can initiate for us.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you.
Since you're in a good mood,